Leading Republican lawmakers on Tuesday introduced legislation that formally declares China as the United States' primary economic and national security threat. The China Task Force Act, authored by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy and co-sponsored by House Foreign Affairs Committee Ranking Member Michael McCaul, combines 137 legislative recommendations that were included in the China Task Force report released last month. Mr. McCarthy said in a statement, "Today marks another milestone in our efforts to hold China accountable. The introduction of the China Task Force Act will help us implement the recommendations of the report, which will help make our country safer and more self-sufficient. With the China Task Force Act, there will be an opportunity to go on the record to support realistic and meaningful solutions. Democrats should finally join us in holding the CCP accountable. Our country, and the world, can no longer afford inaction." Mr. McCaul, Texas Republican and chairman of the China Task Force, applauded the legislation's release and said if passed, it will help guide our foreign policy regarding the CCP for years to come and we should begin to enact it today. He said in a statement, "The malign behavior of the CCP poses a generational threat that demands urgent action. We can no longer stand back as the Chinese Communist Party ramps up their military aggression, weaponizes the supply chain, and brazenly attacks the democratic values that underpin American society and global prosperity." In a report last month, the China Task Force, which is made up of Republican House members after Democratic members refused to join the committee that was intended to be bipartisan, called for increases to the defense budget, funding for modernization of all three legs of the nuclear triad as well as the development of ground-launched cruise and ballistic missiles, and establishing and carrying out an Indo-Pacific initiative to deter China's aggression in the region. The report concluded that the United States' existing policy toward China has often turned a blind eye to the CCP's human rights violations, economic malfeasance, expansionist aggression, empty promises, as well as the CCP's deep commitment to a hostile communist ideology that drives this malign behavior. With seniors becoming a key voting bloc in November, Senate Democrats are warning them of the potential damage Supreme Court nominee Judge Amy Coney Barrett could do to Social Security, Medicare and the Affordable Care Act. Senator Sherrod Brown and Senator Ron Wyden told reporters Judge Barrett's confirmation to the High Court ahead of a case scheduled for November 10 concerning the Affordable Care Act's individual mandate is alarming for seniors. The Democrats said the president's nominee also refused to answer questions during her confirmation hearing last week about if Medicare and Social Security are constitutional programs. Mr. Brown said, suggesting if the ACA is overturned, seniors cannot easily obtain blood pressure screenings and mammograms. Seniors will lose the free preventive services they rely on. Mr. Brown said, referring to Senate Republicans. They can find time to jam through a special interest Supreme Court nominee who in the midst of a pandemic will undoubtedly take away health insurance. Mr. Wyden said seniors will also lose savings that the ACA provides on medications. One of the major issues during last week's hearing was an article Judge Barrett authored critical of Chief Justice John Roberts' decision in 2012 upholding the Affordable Care Act as a tax. Republicans, though, have said her opinion at the time was academic, as she was a law professor at the University of Notre Dame. They argue Democrats can't assume she will vote against the law in the November 10 case since it deals with a different legal issue related to the healthcare law. Senator Ted Cruz, Texas Republican, during last week's hearing said, "We should be protecting pre-existing conditions and expanding competition, expanding options, and lowering premiums. This body will continue to debate that. But Judge Barrett will not be the decision maker on what the appropriate approach to health care is as a policy matter." House Republicans on Monday urged Attorney General William Barr to appoint a special counsel to probe allegations stemming from a laptop reportedly belonging to Joseph Biden's son Hunter. The lawmakers want Mr. Barr to probe claims that the elder Biden played a role in his son's alleged lucrative business dealings in Ukraine and China. They say the American people deserve to know whether the former vice president received foreign monies during his tenure in the Obama administration, and if he allowed his son to peddle access to him with foreign business entities. The lawmakers wrote, "If these reports about former Vice President Joe Biden and his son, Hunter, are true, the former vice president fell far short of his responsibility to uphold his constitutional oath and betrayed the sacred trust of the American people. Also, according to the lawmakers, they said in the letter, "We request that the Department of Justice immediately appoint an independent, unbiased special counsel to investigate the issues that we have raised, as well as any corresponding legal or ethical issues that might be uncovered from the former vice president's 47 years in public office." The letter is signed by 11 Republicans, including Representatives Andy Biggs of Arizona, Paul Gosar of Arizona, Ted Yoho of Florida, Jody Hice of Georgia, and Debbie Lesko of Arizona. The letter comes after the New York Post last week published emails alleging Hunter Biden introduced his father to a top executive at Ukrainian natural gas firm Burisma Holdings in 2015, roughly a year before the former vice president allegedly pressured the country's government to fire a prosecutor investigating the company. The Biden campaign has insisted the elder Biden never met with the executive and has slammed the Post story as not legitimate. An email dated May 13, 2017, published by the Post includes a discussion of remuneration packages for 6 people involved in a business deal with a Chinese energy firm. The email identifies Hunter Biden as vice chair of the now bankrupt company. The email also includes a proposed equity split that references 10 held by H for the big guy. No other details were provided. Both the Post and Fox News have reported the big guy is a reference to the former vice president. President Trump is delivering on his promise to allow faster dishwashers on the market, saying current slower models are no damn good. White House officials said they plan to release a final rule in the coming weeks for dishwashers with a normal cycle time of less than 1 hour. Most current dishwasher cycles run from 1.5 to 4 hours. Russ Vought, director of the Office of Management and Budget, said, "President Trump has once again made good on his promise to free Americans from ludicrous government regulations, this time bringing a common-sense reform to dishwashers. Dishes now washed in an hour or less. This is yet another example of President Trump's promises made, promises kept on deregulation. The president often cites complaints about water and energy-conserving dishwashers, saying they don't work well and end up using more water because consumers run them more frequently." President Trump told supporters at a campaign rally in Nevada on Sunday. "They didn't give enough water, so people would run them 10 times, so they end up using more water. The thing is no damned good. We freed it up. Now you can buy a dishwasher, and clean dishes come out and it's beautiful. Go buy a dishwasher." He said he fielded complaints about dishwashers from the women who they say don't like me, they actually do like me a lot. Mr. Trump said over cheers. "Suburban women, please vote for me. I'm saving your house, I'm saving your community." The Department of Energy received a petition from the Competitive Enterprise Institute to define a new product class under the Energy Policy and Conservation Act for residential dishwashers. Doe published the petition and request for comments in the Federal Register in April 2018. Now, administration officials say Doe has decided to grant the petition for rule-making and will propose a product class of dishwashers with a normal cycle of less than 1 hour. The department intends to consider appropriate energy and water use limits for such a product class, if adopted, in a separate rule-making, officials said.